Hello, everybody. In today's lecture, we will be discussing the translation of advertisements. What are we going to cover in this lecture? So first of all, advertising text types, theoretical approach, ways of translation, and difficulties in translation of advertisement text. So let's get started. Advertising text represents the information messages directed to create an interest of the target audience in the product or service. Advertisement translation has to be competent both from the point of standards of language and marketing positions. The distinctive feature of the advertisement translation is need of their adaptation to cultural features, mentality, and relevant trends for the foreign target audience. To carry out the translation, it is required to have either knowledge of target language or creative potential. Campaigns for the advance of goods, including the text on brochures, booklets, leaflets, the presentations and messages in media, on the websites, boards, and etc., belong to advertising materials. So advertising materials translation is necessary at entry of firm into foreign sales market and for foreign partners and investors. The translation will also be required if the target audience represents migrants from other countries. And there is also localization, and the localization of advertising materials translation generally represents the adaptation of the article's content to mental features, cultural preferences, folk customs, psychology, and social component for the target audience of the translation. Therefore, for the successful accomplishment of the magazine translation order, the translator has to be qualified in the sphere of marketing, and it's desirable to be the native speaker. So the translator should be the native speaker. It's very important. Frequently, the translation differs from the original, part of the information eliminated during the translation process. For the maximum increase of efficiency, the translator can independently make the advertising text relying on the idea of the original, as the main objective of the promotional products is to state material intelligibility, reasonably, concisely, briefly, and brightly. For the appropriate choice of translation style, it is necessary to consider the type of promotional products. The banners translation strongly differ from the translation of an article in media. And the advertisement purpose can also be different. Localization also means the translation of the text on graphic materials and symbolics. I'm sorry. In case the promoting product or service is mass, at the translation, it is necessary to use the general lexicon, whereas at highly specialized, it is necessary to apply relevant terminology. So key linguistic parameter at translating advertisement is the figurativeness and creative approach. For this purpose, the following language techniques are used. An associative array at the selection of heading or slogan, polysemy of words or phrases, low frequent, stylistically and emotionally charged words, idioms and sayings adapted to target language, quotes, abbreviations, repetitions, metaphors, allegories, comparisons, alliterations, and etc. Verbal combinations in an imperative mood, adverbs and adjectives, personal and possessive pronouns, new lexemes consisting of the remade parts of words of the target language. It isn't welcome to excessively overloading the text with these means, okay? It is necessary to control the semantic component of the translation strictly. Otherwise, the following mistakes are possible. Inappropriate tracing paper from a foreign language, or incorrect interpretation of the name of a brand. For example, the clay roll company came to grief in the German market at the expense of a double word meaning of mist, which is fog and manure, included in the slogan for a new line of deodorants. So the advertisement translation has to be carried out by certified specialists or authors with a vast experience in the field of linguistics and marketing, as I've already mentioned above. The translation has to be guided by standards of professional translators. So professional standards, we have got there's a standard, internationally recognized standard, which is called ISO 17100, and European standard, which is EN 15038. Okay. Uh, what else? Localization of international advertising campaigns consists of adapting the company's communication to the specific cities of the local environment of the hosting countries targeted by the campaign. This local environment could be divided in several components to which the localizing translator must pay careful attention. The first one, the social cultural component, which includes the local peculiarities stemming from religions, mores, social and commercial habits, rules of conduct, and ethnic norms. In short, this component is related to the main features of the hosting culture and society. The second one, the political legal component, which includes the local peculiarities stemming from the nature of the political system, the stage of opening onto the world, the restrictions imposed on advertisements, and the regulations related to information and to certain products. So localization of advertising campaigns consists of adapting the company's communication while taking into account the above mentioned parameters. The relevance and influence of these parameters are certainly varied according to regions and countries, but overlooking them leads undoubtedly to the failure of the campaign. So I would also would like to mention something about the cultural side of the translation and, for example, the cultural added value, right? So besides this technical skills and semiotic training, the translator localizer of the 21st century is a professional of culture able to decode and encode the cultural science within the advertising communication. His role has become all the more important since globalization has paradoxically uh, exacerbated the feelings of local identity in a culturally globalized era. Let us say that he or she has changed in a short period of time, right? Into an expert in intercultural communication because she masters the culture codes that sell. It is his added value of his or her work as translated that renders him or her today as a localizer. So we also wanted to talk about the uh, localization, and I think you guys already understand what it means and what it represents. And to conclude with, I would like to say the following words. All of these cultural elements, which we have already mentioned above, could play a decisive role not only in the good understanding of advertising message, but also and especially in its success on the targeted market, right? Having disregarded the weight of local cultures, numerous multinationals learned it to their cost. The cultural science could be source of problems in the commercial communication, but they may also optimize the beneficial effects by meeting the local customers' wishes of identification and complicity. In any case, mastering this science is a technical know-how that a translator or localizer ought to highlight and benefit from in a materialistic world where everything is negotiable. And it is up to the translator to use his or her cleverness to bargain for a better future. So this was all what I wanted to say about translation of advertising text. And I would like to hear your ideas as well, guys. Please keep sending your presentations and video presentations to our special groups and leave your comments below. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time.